A chicken farmer went to a local bar, sat next to a woman, and ordered a glass of champagne. The woman perked up and said, "How about that? I just ordered a glass of champagne too." "What a coincidence," the farmer said. "This is a special day for me. I am celebrating." "This is a special day for me too. I am also celebrating," said the woman. "What a coincidence," said the farmer. As they clinked glasses, he added, "What are you celebrating?" She said, "My husband and I have been trying to have a child, and today my gynecologist told me that I am pregnant." "What a coincidence," said the man. "I'm a chicken farmer, and for years all of my hens were infertile, but today they are all laying fertilized eggs." "That's great," said the woman. "How did your chickens become fertile?" "I used a different cock," he replied. The woman smiled, clinked his glass, and said, "What a coincidence." Thomas is 32 years old and he is still single. One day a friend asked, "Why aren't you married? Can't you find a woman who will be a good wife?" Thomas replied, "Actually, I've found many women I wanted to marry, but when I bring them home to meet my parents, my mother doesn't like them." His friend thinks for a moment and says, "I've got the perfect solution. Just find a girl who's just like your mother." A few months later, they meet again, and his friend says, "Did you find the perfect girl? Did your mother like her?" With a frown on his face, Thomas answers, "Yes, I found the perfect girl. She was just like my mother. You were right, my mother liked her very much." The friend asked, "Then what's the problem?" Thomas replied, "My father doesn't like her." A woman's husband had been slipping in and out of a coma for several months, yet she had stayed by his bedside every single day. One day, when he came to, he motioned for her to come nearer. As she sat by him, he whispered, eyes full of tears, "You know what? You have been with me all through the bad times. When I got fired, you were there to support me. When my business failed, you were there. When I got shot, you were by my side. When we lost the house, you stayed right here. When my health started failing, you were still by my side. You know what?" "What, dear?" she asked gently, smiling as her heart began to fill with warmth. The husband said, "I think you are bad luck." Miss D'Angelo was a not-too-bright young woman who had moved to Hollywood with dreams of becoming a star. She didn't find fame or glory, but she did encounter plenty of men willing to enjoy her plentiful charms, and soon she found herself called to testify in a divorce case. When it was her turn on the stand, the lawyer came forward. "Miss D'Angelo, the wife of the defendant has identified you as the other woman in her husband's life. Now, do you admit that you went to the Price-A-Right motel with this Mr. Evans?" "Well, yes," acknowledged Miss D'Angelo with a sniff, "but I couldn't help it." "Couldn't help it?" asked the lawyer derisively. "How's that?" "Mr. Evans deceived me." "Exactly what do you mean?" asked the lawyer. "See, when we signed in," she explained, "he told the motel clerk I was his wife." A man who smelled like a distillery flopped on a subway seat next to a priest. The man's tie was stained, his face was plastered with red lipstick, and a half-empty bottle of gin was sticking out of his torn coat pocket. He opened his newspaper and began reading. After a few minutes, the disheveled guy turned to the priest and asked, "Say, Father, what causes arthritis?" "Mister, it's caused by loose living, being with cheap, wicked women, too much alcohol, and a contempt for your fellow man." "Wow," the drunk muttered, returning to his paper. The priest, thinking about what he had said, nudged the man and apologized. "I'm very sorry, I didn't mean to come on so strong. How long have you had arthritis?" "I don't have it, Father. I was just reading here that the Pope does." One day, this big, nasty, sweaty woman wearing a raggedy, sleeveless sundress walks into a bar. She raises her right arm, revealing a big, hairy armpit as she points to all the people sitting at the bar and asks, "What man out there will buy a lady a drink?" The whole bar goes dead silent as the patrons try to ignore her. At the end of the bar, a skinny little pisshead slams his hand on the bar and says, "Barman, I want to buy that ballerina a drink." The barman pours the drink and the woman chugs it down. After she's completed the drink, she turns again to the throng and points around at all of them, again revealing the hairy armpit saying, "What man out there will buy a lady a drink?" Once again, the little drunk slaps his hand down on the bar and slurs to the barman, "Sir, I would like to buy the ballerina another drink." After serving the lady her second drink, the barman approaches the little drunkard and says, "It's your business if you want to buy the lady a drink, but why do you keep calling her a ballerina?" To which the drunk replies, "Sir, in my eyes, any woman who can lift her leg up that high has got to be a ballerina." A woman and a man are involved in a car accident. It's a bad one. Both of their cars are totally wrecked, but amazingly, neither of them is hurt. After they crawl out of their cars, the woman says, "So, you're a man, that's interesting. I'm a woman. Wow, just look at our cars. There's nothing left, but fortunately, we are unhurt. This must be a sign from God that we should meet and be friends and live together in peace for the rest of our days." The man replied, "I agree with you completely. This must be a sign from God." The woman continued, "And look at this. Here's another miracle. My car is completely demolished, but this bottle of wine didn't break. Surely God wants us to drink this wine and celebrate our good fortune." Then she hands the bottle to the man. The man nods his head in agreement, opens it, and drinks half the bottle, and then hands it back to the woman. The woman takes the bottle, immediately puts the cork back in, and hands it back to the man. The man asks, "Aren't you having any?" The woman replies, "No, I think I'll just wait for the police." A married Irishman went into the confessional and said to his priest, "I almost had an affair with another woman." The priest said, "What do you mean, almost?" The Irishman said, "Well, we got undressed and rubbed together, but then I stopped." The priest said, "Rubbing together is the same as putting it in. You're not to see that woman again. For your penance, say 5 Hail Marys and put $50 in the poor box." The Irishman left the confessional, said his prayers, and then walked over to the poor box. He paused for a moment and then started to leave. The priest, who was watching, quickly ran over to him saying, "I saw that. You didn't put any money in the poor box." The Irishman replied, "Yeah, but I rubbed the $50 on the box, and according to you, that's the same as putting it in." A new guy in town walks into a bar and reads a sign that hangs over the bar. "Free beer! Free beer for the person who can pass the test." So the guy asks the bartender what the test is. Bartender replies, "Well, first you have to drink that whole gallon of pepper tequila, the whole thing at once, and you can't make a face while doing it. Second, there's a gator out back with a sore tooth. You have to remove it with your bare hands. Third, there's a woman upstairs who's never had an orgasm. You gotta make things right for her." The guy says, "Well, as much as I would love free beer, I won't do it. You have to be nuts to drink a gallon of pepper tequila and then get crazier from there." Well, as time goes on and the man drinks a few, he asks, "Where's that tequila?" He grabs the gallon of tequila with both hands and downs it with a big slurp and tears streaming down his face. Next, he staggers out back and soon all the people inside hear the most frightening roaring and thumping, then silence. The man staggers back into the bar, his shirt ripped and big scratches all over his body. "Now," he says, "where's that woman with the sore tooth?" A man sees his doctor about the terrible headaches he has had for most of his adult life. The doctor isn't sure what is going on, so he arranges a scan. The scan comes back as normal, so the doctor refers the man to a neurologist who is also unable to find a cause, though does offer some advice. "I did meet one man who had similar headaches. The only thing that helped was having his testicles surgically removed," he explained. Exasperated, the man goes home to his wife. His wife said, "Well, they are really getting you down. You don't think it might be worth considering?" After a few weeks, the man concedes and goes in to have both testicles removed. He wakes up in the recovery area and gets dressed to go home. Miraculously, the headaches have gone. The man skips out of the hospital and into his car. On his way home, he is celebrating this revelation and the start of a new, headacheless chapter of his life. Giddy with happiness and relief, he decides to buy a new suit. "If I feel the part, I might as well look the part too," he thinks to himself. He goes to a fancy tailor who begins to measure him up. Inside leg, 31 inches. Waist, 34 inches. "No," interrupts the man. "I'm a 30-inch inside leg, always have been." The tailor raises an eyebrow and replies, "Sir, we can cut it to that size, but you might find it pinches your balls and gives you headaches."